If you ever felt like your life is not all your own, you're not entirely wrong. There are 7 human-made systems that control the world, and they do this by controlling the way humans meet your fundamental needs. So these systems attempt to control your body, your mind, your emotions, your social interactions, your culture and identity, and your purpose and your spirituality. So if you're ready to take back control of yourself and your life, you first need to know what your needs are, how the systems attempt to control you and your needs, and how to meet your needs in a new way that works for you. Let's start with a super quick summary of the hierarchy of needs. So all human beings have the same intrinsic needs, but to varying degrees. There's no getting away from them. So what is a need? Well, it's something necessary for survival you can't live without, and it's required to maintain life and an internal state of well-being. Your needs evolve in a hierarchy that reflects the typical development of a human. So you start by meeting your basic survival needs, and then once you feel safe, you move on to improving your quality of life and then higher spiritual needs. So 7 key human needs sit within one of these 3 areas. Your physical body or form has physical, emotional, and mental needs. Your relationship with the external world are your relational or social needs, and then your physical or metaphysical body or form has soul, higher self, and spiritual needs. So if you want to know more detail about needs, check out the episode 7 Essential Human Needs That Must Be Met to Thrive. The link's in the description. So let's start with the physical systems of control. So the primary instinct of all human beings is to live, maintain yourself, survive, and reproduce. So your main physical needs for personal survival are food, clean water, fresh air, sleep, exercise and movement, shelter, clothing, and physical sensation. The main need for collective survival of the human species is sex and reproduction. So most people rely these days on centrally produced food and products which are grown and produced outside of individual control. Much of our foods are processed and artificial, or in the case of fruit and vegetables, genetically modified and sprayed with pesticides and chemicals. Our meat is mostly fed with artificial processed grains and food and injected with hormones and chemicals. It's difficult to get real natural food. As a result, humans are sicker, more overweight, and unhealthier than ever due to poor food and an increasingly unhealthy and sedentary lifestyle that takes us further and further away from your natural state. The health system is based on pharmaceuticals and drugs and surgery to cut out problems and band-aid problems rather than a system of health, wellness, and prevention. Buildings are made from artificial and synthetic products and create unnatural environments through air conditioning, LED lighting, and materials full of chemicals and toxins. And clothing and products are often unnatural and synthetic and rarely made to last. So Western society is in a constant state of consumption to meet our physical needs. These control systems of your physical needs are centralized and manipulated. We've lost the basic knowledge and life skills to provide food, shelter, clothing, water, and healthcare for ourselves. This lack of knowledge puts humans at the mercy of products that are presented to them as the only option, but you can regain back control of your physical needs when you begin to acquire health knowledge, source real food and basic shelter without all the layered in technology and artificiality. You can support local small business ethically and in a way that is good for you, other people and animals, and the planet. The second need is the emotional systems, which are about safety and quality of life. So once your physical needs are met and your body is kept alive, you develop an emotional need for security and safety. Safety is dependent on obtaining internal and external resources to be free from harm, risk, or external intervention. So internal resources are your emotional, mental, and behavioral responses to the external world. External resources are the physical things in your environment which determine and add to your quality of life. So the primary control system that determines your ability to meet your emotional needs and feel safe and secure is money, the financial and economic and monetary systems. So the world exists again on a centralized system of money systems that are highly complex and confusing to most people. Concepts such as centralized banks, fiat money system, interest rates, inflation, compound interest, and an exponential growth economy in themselves create a certain level of stress. Now, I'm not going to go into these things here, but We live in a system that requires you to have money to buy things to meet your needs. You can't just go and build a house, otherwise they will arrest you or fine you or rip it down. And as previously discussed, most of us have lost the life skills to create food, shelter, and clothing ourselves, even if you did have that land. So a sense of unsafety and insecurity is created internally when your external quality of life feels harmful and risky, or when you don't have enough money to feel safe and secure. So that point is different for everyone, and for a 20-something backpacker, traveling the world and living week to week from odd jobs may feel liberating and free. For a single mother with 3 kids to feed and the rent due tomorrow, this isn't the case. She needs more money coming in consistently. When a lack of money means you cannot meet basic physical survival needs of food, water, shelter, and clothing, fear, stress, and anxiety create low-level emotional states. You don't feel safe and secure, and your emotional needs are not met. So these economic and financial systems currently in place are controlling how safe and secure people feel, and it's not very good. Money is a struggle for a large percentage of humanity. The system means you have to pay to live. You have to work to live. So in terms of getting out of the current financial and economic control system, that's a much bigger topic for another time, and we'll talk about that. But within the current system, you can regain control of your emotional needs when you have enough money in the bank to alleviate feelings of stress and anxiety, or reduce the quality of life and expenses that you need to feel safe, and look at what are the essentials. The third need of the material realm is the mental, cognitive, or psychological needs and the systems that control those. So once you're surviving and you feel safe in the world, you can begin to explore further your mental and cognitive needs. And the core of meeting your mental needs includes things like critical thinking, gaining knowledge, understanding, sense-making, meaning, curiosity, and predictability. So you gain information and knowledge to understand, give meaning, and make sense of the world. And the 2 biggest systems that control your mental well-being are the education system and the media. Proper education empowers the individual with skills, capability, and wisdom to navigate the world. But modern education currently transfers information through giving instruction. Education systems are designed to reinforce social constructs, the organization of society, and to keep you in line, not thinking creatively or innovatively. So you hand your child at the age of 5 over to the government to educate them. 12 or 13 years later, they come out with little information or skills to help them thrive in the world. But they're obedient, they do what they're told, and they stay in line. That's education. Now, the media system is the communication channel that disseminates news, music, movies, education, promotions, and other data. Mainstream media is the large mass media that influence people with the current myths and ideologies and one perspective of how the world is. It's rarely objective, and it's usually funded, when you delve into it, in part or whole by government or advertisers or owners with an agenda. So when you look deeper, you'll find that most media channels are owned and controlled by the same small group of people and companies. Alternative media is created outside of this system by independents. Even with alternative media and social media allowing more independent people to communicate, it's difficult to find objective perspectives that aren't distorted or censored or manipulated or attacked. Giving your mind or your child's mind over to these systems of education and media without question gives the systems control of your mental needs or your child's mental needs. So you can regain control back by withdrawing from mainstream information sources, seeking alternative perspectives, getting curious, questioning, and committing to objectively understanding the world and not just accepting things as the way they are because the system tells you that's the way they are. The fourth system controls your relational or social needs. So the purpose of relationships is to help you know and understand yourself by relating to the external world, other people, and things. Relational needs include connection to things and people, including family, friends, peers, culture, and social groups. They help you understand your place in the world. So relational well-being occurs when your relationships help you feel safe and secure. Systems that control your relational needs and how you interact with other people are the political, government, legal, and justice systems. So the government system is the institution of people running a country or state. The political system are the activities or processes of running a country or state. The legal system regulates and controls what is considered what the government deems morally right or wrong, and it does this through laws, rules, mandates, regulations, and legislation. And finally, the justice system makes a judgment about laws and it assesses human behavior against them, determining what is right and wrong according to the government and the politicians. So these systems work together to create degrees of control on a society, both economically and socially. So in theory, government was created by the people to serve the people and keep members of society safe and secure. The current reality is very different. Most governments have been corrupted from serving the people to serving an authority or themselves. Government and authority are morally illegitimate at the point they take anything away from another human being. What right have they got to do that? So you've likely seen the creep of surveillance, security, regulation, and control over the last few decades, and certainly the last few years in your society. In the name of your safety, you're being told how you can and cannot interact with others. Instead, what you can say, think, and how you're allowed to act. So you give away your power when you obediently comply to what someone else tells you to do with or think, without considering the moral position of your individual principles and ideals. So you can regain control of your relational needs by becoming aware of your interactions with other people and considering, is this good for me, good for other people, and good for the planet? Know who you are, what you stand for, and the true essence of right or wrong, not just what a law or regulation or an authority says is right or wrong. Do no harm is a good mantra to start with. So the fifth system controls your soul or your esteem needs. Once you understand and know yourself through relationships, you're well out of the survival and you're starting to interact with the world and moving into this space of more evolution and self-exploration. So esteem is the degree to which something or someone is perceived as worthy, favorable, valued, or respected. There are two ways that humans gain esteem. One, from others, including things like reputation, status, admiration, power, control, prestige, authority, or acknowledgement. And two, esteem from oneself, including dignity, self-acceptance, independence, freedom, sovereignty, choice, self-responsibility. So the systems that control your esteem are a little bit intangible and are based in perceptions of who and what you are. So rather than helping your human self reconnect to your spiritual aspect and your soul, these systems do the opposite. Keep you disconnected. So constructs such as categorizations, culture, roles, identity, and persona are used to keep you as a separate, divided, and material physical object in the world. While the human mind uses categories and labels to help you understand the world and identify different people and things, these keep you disconnected from the truth of who you are when they're deemed either good and bad or right and wrong. So physical characteristics such as gender, race, or demographics are not just used to identify differences and describe something, but differences are defined as a good or a bad thing. So cultures and roles within those cultures, including workplaces, families, schools, and any authority, create hierarchy and separation. Identity and personas go beyond just the characteristics and qualities expressed in your personality to have a deep meaning that defines you as a very specific thing, rather than a spiritual being having a physical human experience through the physical body. So a shift into political correctness and concepts such as equity, diversity, inclusion attempt to keep you locked and defined by your physical human form and disconnected from the metaphysical essence of your soul, which is not limited by these things. You can regain control of your soul needs by remembering and reconnecting to who and what you are, a spiritual being having a physical human experience, not just a human body. The sixth system of control is higher self or self-actualization. Once you meet your need for esteem and have an understanding about who you are, you can address your need for self-actualization. Self-actualization is a process of connecting to a higher purpose for being here on earth. Now, the control systems that prevent you finding your purpose are the business and work systems. Business systems evolved from a society that separated and individualized skills and services and a way for people to manufacture, produce, and trade goods and services. So they helped centralize resources and they removed individual life skills, supporting what we talked about with money and emotional needs for safety. Now, once businesses helped humans meet physical and survival needs easier, which is great, but it kept going. So combined with an economic system based on constant growth, businesses exist to make more and more money. Today, many have no focus on adding real value or serving humanity and acting in their best interests and meeting their real legitimate needs. And in support of those business and economic systems combined is the work system. People are forced to get a job in a business so you can earn money to pay the bills, to meet your basic physical and emotional needs and live and create some quality of life. You've got to pay to live. To get a well-paying job, you need skills that someone sees value in. Now, if your work is highly skilled or supports the values of the control system, you're usually financially well rewarded. If your work is poorly skilled or it doesn't support the values of these control systems, you may not be so well paid. So the society just doesn't value you. So most people are working in jobs that provide little personal fulfillment or real value to the well-being of the individual or the collective. They exist to support the systems of consumption and control and make money for people to pay the bills and survive. You can regain control of your higher self needs by creating time to explore your purpose and redesigning work, life, and hobbies that are more aligned to you. Over time, you can replace your current work with more aligned, fulfilling, and purpose-driven activities, but you got to focus and you got to commit to it. The final seventh system of control is that governs your spirituality or transcendence. So when you act aligned with your full potential, you become motivated by values beyond the personal. Spiritual needs include awareness of your power as a spiritual being and being part of something bigger than yourself and at one with nature and humanity. Now, systems that control spiritual needs and connection to source consciousness or a divine intelligence revolve around handing over your love, trust, personal power, and freedom to an external authority. It creates a middleman and removes a direct connection between you and source consciousness. Now, these systems include organized religion, New Age spirituality, and any kind of idolatry and iconography. Let's go through them. So organized religion gives itself an authority over the spiritual realms. It asks people to believe in a set of ideas and beliefs about the world and universe and worship a god or a set of gods. New Age spirituality presents itself as alternative and more significant and open than religion, but it's still asking you to follow a prescribed set of rules and beliefs rather than your own, from your own experience and learning. Idolatry and iconography are the worship of something you place higher than yourself with some level of authority over you. Now, this can include the worship of people, concepts, objects, and things. So in addition to religion and New Age spirituality, they include concepts such as patriotism and nationalism and can extend to the worship of rock stars, celebrities, football clubs, monarchy, movies, merchandise, brands, and even logos. These things are all distractions and keeping you focused on the material and physical realm and separate and disconnected from the higher power of source consciousness. You can regain control of your spiritual needs by just removing any external authority over yourself and by removing any authority or hierarchy that places you over others. So meeting spiritual needs reconnects your spiritual self back to a bigger whole. The collective reality humanity currently exists in definitely has systems designed to command and control the human race. They're intended to keep you in a state of survival and low emotional states in the physical, distracted by the physical and material realms, focused on making enough money to get through the day. When you exist in these low states, there's not enough time, energy, or space to shift into the higher realms of mental expansion, relationship, purpose, self-actualization, and transcendence. You're just worried about paying the bills. So the first step is understanding your fundamental human needs and seeing how they're playing out in your life. The second step is seeing these systems for what they are, learning and understanding their rules and how they are functioning. And then the third step is connecting to your true self, beginning to meet your needs in a way that works for you. The choice is always yours. See you next time.